they need a good receiver. They're not going to be able to take most receivers because they're going to, if they're really good, they're going to destroy everything Terrell Owens style by saying, what, I'm only going to get thrown to 4 times a game? That's bull. I don't want to be here. They're going to need guys, and Eric Decker's the only receiver, and Thomas. They're going to need guys like that who can say, well, I'm okay with only being thrown at 4 or 5 times a game with 2 of the passes being horrible.
Would you rather have, like Thomas, have a career day with a couple touchdowns and 4 catches for 140 yards and win? Or would you rather, I don't know, have 2 catches for 10 yards and lose to the Packers like he did earlier in the year?
Well, I guess
if it was me, I'd go for the win. But for these receivers, though, they want to get stats and touchdowns.
Get paid. Get paid and get out of Denver. I mean, that's what it's got to be, because if you've got any ego, you're going to want to get out of there. With, Eric Decker is really the only guy.
And it's tough to find receivers that don't have ego.
Eric Decker is the only guy I can think of in the whole league that's fine with catching 25 balls a year. I mean, I don't know what he's.
Because a quarter of them are going to be touchdowns. Because he's going to end up with like 10 touchdowns this year.
Right.
On like 45, 50 catches. Yeah. Why do people continue to bring up the stats and insist, oh, he only completed 10 passes? Well, I don't think, it doesn't matter. Like I've sat here, and we've gone through, well, they're this defensively, they're that defensively. But what it comes down to is it doesn't matter how many yards you give up. They gave up nearly 400 yards passing and over 100 yards rushing. They still won the game. I love how the analysts say, well, the keys to the game, they got to stop the rush, and you got to rush the ball. And you got to win the turnover battle, and you got to do this, and you got to win the special teams. You don't have to do any of that. You have to score more points.
To be fair,
turnovers is the biggest one of that.
If you can run and stop the run and win the turnover battle, you're going to win almost every game you play. But I understand what you're saying.
None of that matters. No game's ever been decided by any of that. They never look, well, you had 200 yards rushing, you had 190. The team that had 200, they're going to win. They decided by points. In Denver, 6 of the last 7 games, they've scored more points than the other team. That's why they have more wins than any other team in their division. Pretty much, it is. It is.
That's new.
So I don't care. Yeah, he completed 10 passes. That's what he did.
We've been talking about him for what, 8-10 minutes now. I'm
completely
fatigued.
But why do people continue to talk about it? It ain't going to change.
It's captivating.
His career.
He's a polarizing figure. There's no question that Tim Tebow is a polarizing figure, and that people love to talk about him. People love to love him. People love to hate him. I don't think that'll ever change either. And the fact that he's winning in a non-conventional way. People aren't used to this type of style. People aren't going to stop talking about it. I think the Denver area's feeling this thing too, because they just will put up billboards till we get him in there at quarterback, and I don't know.
As of right now, his career reminds me of Vince Young when he started playing early. And like that, if he keeps winning, he'll keep his job. But if they start losing and he looks as bad as he does when he's throwing it at times and he can't throw passes effectively, he will be yanked quicker than a lot of other quarterbacks would. But he's winning games, and that's really all that matters. I mean, Vince Young was not a really good NFL quarterback and started for 3 or 4 years because they just kept winning games when he started.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that we define pocket passers. I think Michael Vick would be the only guy I would say is not a pocket passer that people kind of accept as a mainstream quarterback. There's a reason why we envision one type of player as a quarterback, and Tim Tebow doesn't fit that mold. And I think, like Charlie said, when he starts losing, he'll have a shorter.
Yeah, when I say losing, I don't mean if he loses 1 or 2 games in a row. I mean they have to lose 3 or 4 games in a row.
And people say, this won't last. Well, what does that mean? It won't last till next year? It won't last for 3 years, 5 years?
Maybe he won't.
This is the NFL. It stands for not for long. Nothing lasts.
Yeah.
I mean, this is.
But what does that mean? It won't last for how long? What if he does this for like 3-4 years and they make the playoffs for a couple of years and then all of a sudden like year 4, year 5 he struggles? They're gonna say, "Oh, I told you so." Well, he had because he only had 5
then
years.
It doesn't count.
I told you so. Oh yeah. Brett Favre, he broke down after 20 years. See, I told you so. It wouldn't last. Go to hell. Go to hell, all of you.
I don't know what to say after that. I
We
guess.
can go on more, but we don't have enough.
I'd really.
But we don't have enough tape, so we're going to come back and we're going to recap the college football championship games that we picked last week and see how we did.
FCS.
And FCS too, yes. Coming up.
I'm excited. I don't even.
We sat by the Christmas tree last week and picked the bowl games, or not the bowl games, but the conference
All
games.
the little placards of the teams.
Yeah,
That was fun.
It was fun. I like doing that.
The Pac-12 championship game, you're the only one that got it right because we went by the point spread of 31. You took UCLA.
Yep.
That was a closer than expected game, but Gus Johnson really added something to that because if you're just listening to that game, you don't realize that UCLA is down by 20 points and he's going nuts. Oh my God, they have a chance to cover the spread. They didn't have a chance to win the game.
No.
It was like a 17-point game and he's going nuts. All folks don't. What? They're not.
Gus Johnson lost some points to me this weekend between the two games, so he's lost some points with me.
I know somebody that
And-
used to be on this show
Yep.
that would go against you,
I
but he
keep-
is wrong.
Like
I'll
him.
talk
I
to
like
him
him for
about that.
basketball.
Yep.
Not a Gus Johnson for football fan
Yep.
though.
It's all these picks are all about riding hunches, and to me, UCLA, nothing to lose by the fact that they were going to go to Oregon. They're playing a team that they have no chance of beating. Your head coach is already canned. You might as well give it whatever you got. And I think aside from maybe the early mess ups and then just not being able to keep pace with them in the third quarter onward, I think they played decent. And that's kind of exhibited in the final score of that game. But Oregon, did basically what they had to do. They played like Oregon. UCLA played a little bit better than they have all year, I would say.
They play another team, Oregon maybe loses that game because they had a couple turnovers there.
Yeah, I think Oregon was sloppy with the ball in late first quarter into that second quarter, and UCLA able to make a little headway in that margin.
And some of the times, I know they like to go for it on 4th down, but sometimes they went for it on 4th and 1 like at the 50.
Yeah.
If they're playing in Wisconsin, they're not going to do that.
I don't know.
I don't think
If
so.
it's Wisconsin, they might hit the 50 if they were on their own side of the
But they
field.
went for
would,
it
though.
a lot in that game.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 3-4 times. And
They go.
it's
Yeah, they
like-
go for it on like 4th and 7,
Yeah,
4th and 8.
It's
too.
like, well, we're going for the knockout punch every single time we have the ball, and against a team like UCLA, you definitely can get away doing that. UCLA, that Kevin Prince, God bless his soul, because he was just getting rocked.
Yeah, I don't.
And he's not that good to begin with, but
No.
good effort, Von Bruins. Good luck in the coaching search.
Good luck going 6-8. I don't. They may go some. They may beat Illinois.
They
He could.
Illinois.
UCLA's won games more recently than Illinois has.
Illinois will have some pride in that game.
Is that the worst? We'll get into the bowl games probably next week, but is that the worst one?
Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. If
Like,
you want to
as
look
far
at
as
it from that way,
watching-wise,
or
No, I'll watch it. I'm not sure which ones. I like to think the ones now with the way the bowls are set up, like January 6th, the one in
yeah, it
Mobile,
depends if you want to
Alabama.
take one of two mid-major, like a Sun Belt and a MAC team that didn't even win their conference. I mean, you can. It depends how you want to define it as the worst.
I'll say
I mean,
this.
obviously
would
that one
say-
has the worst combined record.
I would say the worst would be the one that you're just not watching. It's on, and you're like, no. Wheel of Fortune, I'll watch that.
The Hawaii Bowl is usually never a game that I watch on Christmas Eve, and I
It's going to be
can't.
Southern Miss this year.
Southern Miss.
Well,
Yeah. Good luck to that. Good luck to those teams.
yeah.
What else we got? We got
The Big Ten. That was all these other games.
That was the
were
best
trash.
game of the entire day.
We sat here like
The only other game that was even remotely entertaining. Oh, I mean, entertaining in terms of
was Houston.
It was close down to the
Is that
wire.
all?
Was Kansas State, Iowa State. That was still kind of tough to watch at
It
times.
was a difficult game. I think the Big Ten championship got
No,
everything.
you mean the Big 12.
No, I mean the Big
I
Ten.
mean the Pac. The big.
The Wisconsin Michigan
The
State
big
game.
championship. The big with the
The
logo.
Pac.
Anyway, I
The
think
MAC. What?
I think the Big Ten championship got everything they could ask for except 15,000 more butts in the seats. Because I think
Well,
they got a great game.
everything they could have asked for, and also with it basically ending on a running into the punter. But,
That
yeah.
was. Ugh. I'm not mad at the call.
It happened. I mean,
I mean, it was the correct call to make.
No
I'm
way.
upset that
But how do you
Michigan
do
State
that?
did it
How do you
because
do that?
I wanted to see how is this going to play out now.
I was not upset with the officials for making that call. I was upset with
because
that.
if you're a fan
that
of
idiot
Wisconsin,
for
you want
running.
that call.
Yeah.
Because it happened.
I was just angry that he punted it when the guy was 4 yards away from him,
And he got a very good return.
I mean, it's one of those things, unless it's your favorite team playing, obviously you don't care how your favorite team wins. Any other game that you're just watching because you want to watch an exciting game,
Finish.
I don't know if that's the worst way, but that's one of the 3 or 4 worst ways a game can end, though. First
like
down by penalty, or
penalty.
taking 2 or 3 knees now.
I picked
Especially
Wisconsin
when you
to
saw that he ran it back to like the 4-yard
They were right when he got a touchdown.
I picked Wisconsin to win that game, and then with about 6 minutes left, I'm like, I can't have Wisconsin win this game. I can't bother seeing them in the Rose Bowl.
Does that have anything to do with their quarterbacks, Marcus?
It has nothing to do
Okay.
with their quarterbacks. It has everything to do with their idiot head coach that they have.
Boom.
You don't like his play card?
Well, the play card thing, I actually thought that was the funniest dynamic of the whole thing.
No.
Was Bielema having to be interviewed by Brewster before the game, after the game. I just, it's the Russell Wilson moving into Wisconsin. Oh, I'll just play football this year for you guys.
I'll say this. I don't have anything against either Wisconsin or Michigan State. I'm glad Wisconsin won because I think that presents a better Rose Bowl match.
That was the only reason. That was the only reason I wanted Wisconsin to win. But as the game wore on, I kind of thought Michigan State might be able to hang with Oregon.
No, they would have got pantsed. I'm sorry.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
I
didn't mean to shock you there.
You did. You shocked me a little.
Well, okay, Clemson.
By pants. I don't think they would have lost by 50, but I think they would have lost
20.
by 3 touchdowns, though.
Where does Clemson get off? Playing like they haven't played this good in a month. And where do they get off dominating in the second half?
I mean, if you want to, if you really wanted to look at film and study tape, maybe you could make a case that maybe Clemson's just a bad matchup for Virginia Tech. Could be. I don't know if there's something they do that Virginia Tech just truly isn't good at stopping. But, I mean, like I said, they're the most talented team in the conference, and they just actually...
But how did they lay an egg against North Carolina State?
It was like I jokingly said. They'd been practicing for this game for 2 or 3 weeks, I guess.
Yeah,
they knew they were in it and said, well, we already have it. I mean, we don't need to win North Carolina State. We don't even need to beat South Carolina. That's a non-conference game. We're going all in for the Orange Bowl.
Same thing with the Iowa State beating Oklahoma State or any other crazy upset you've seen this year. NC State got up for that game. Clemson was not up for that game. That's why it was a 21
Which they should have been, because if they have one loss,
right,
they're in the top 5 right now.
Right. Clemson repping the shirt today. Glad you won. Hope you do well.
Taj Boyd, Sammy Watkins, and Andre Ellington.
But you really blew it when you didn't show up at NC State, and you might have had a shot to beat South Carolina if you play hard. Not a fan of that.
And then you look at Houston laying an egg, costing their conference about $15 million. I
love Larry Fedora. Before the game, somebody asked him, what do you think about potentially costing your conference $17 million? Oh well.
Well, that's a bonus in my pocket.
The funny thing though is there's people in Southern Miss, not all, but a few in Southern Miss's athletic department that are upset because they're not getting the money.
Right.
Good.
And obviously everyone other than Southern Mississippi's upset, but it's like I've said, if you have an offense like that, it's fun to watch. You can beat anybody, but you can lose to anybody if it doesn't click quite right. Yeah. You get a defense that's athletic, and don't make a mistake just because they're Southern Miss and they're in Conference USA. They're athletic and they're good defensively. I mean, I'm not saying they're top 5 good, but they've got a good defense. And then you get an offense and you get like that, and you get them out of their rhythm and out of their timing a little bit, and then they just can't handle it. And it also helped that I don't think Keenum has a very strong arm, and it was windy that day too. But
Houston, a little bit of a tease now. Is it?
And I love how they dropped
to Penn State.
I love how they dropped to 20th in one of the polls. They just dropped like 15 spots.
Well, I was reading up on the Harris poll. One of the voters had Houston at 5 yet.
Nice.
I don't know if he just said.
Boy, I wonder what he had him last week.
He had Oklahoma State at 6.
Still?
Still. He's the former SID at Iowa. He's 80 years old, says he doesn't do as much research as he should.